Hello everyone. I think we all love having an efficient workflow, right? And what could be more efficient than being able to access close to everything related to a certain channel with one click of a button? Say I want to select the lead vocal and see its plugins. This is possible in Cubase 14 due to the new open-close insert key commands. However, if you, like me, want to be able to do this for almost every single channel, setting this up can take a lot of time. Also, if you don't happen to have something like a Stream Deck and you want to do this for like a lot of your channels, being able to remember every single key command may be impossible when working on larger projects, unless you have some kind of super memory. I have some ideas for a feature inside Cubase which would give us the same end result, but it would take a lot less time to set up. And I have one idea for the same feature that would make this appealing for people who doesn't use something like a Stream Deck. Let me show you what I'm thinking. Now I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you guys like what I'm about to share today. That way, what I'm about to talk about may come to happen in Cubase 15. Not expecting it, but a man can dream, right? So if you happen to like what I'm about to show you today, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that. So the feature I want to see the most in Cubase 15 are changes to Workspaces. As of today, Workspaces alone cannot fully fill the need I am looking for, and you will see this explained later in the video. Before showing you what the ideas actually are, I should probably show you how you have to do right now using the project logical editor, key commands, and/or macros. Okay, let's say that I want to select the kick channel and open its plugins. I'll start by opening the project logical editor, and I add a pre-command here, which will be close all plugins, plugin windows. There we go. This will prevent us from having any other unrelated plugin opened. Next, we will add the project logical editor command, which simply will select the channel. I will select the channel by identifying its name. There are different ways to select a channel using this, but I'll do it this way. So I'll go here, name equal to kick. Finally, we will add a post command, which is a macro I have created, which opens and closes all the inserts for the selected channel. Now the command is completed, so we'll go ahead and save this as a preset. Go here, save changes as preset. We'll call this profile kick. Now we'll head into the key commands and add a key to what we just created. Okay, so we'll search for profile. There it is, profile kick. And we add a key binding here. Okay, let's take a look and see if it works. So F16. And is it selected? Yes, it is selected. It works. That's how you gotta set it up the first time. Doing the same kind of thing for a new channel will now be a little bit quicker, and that is because we don't need to do as much inside of the project logical editor. And that is because we can start from the preset we just created. So let's say we want to do the same thing for the snare. We open up the project logical editor again. So we'll start from this preset we just used, and we only need to change the name here, so snare. Then we have to save it as a new preset, so we go up here, save changes as preset. We'll call this profile snare, save. So for the second time and onward, it is not as much of setting up here, at least. However, we still may want to be able to use a key for this command, so we'll open up the key commands again. So we'll search for profile again, and there it is, profile snare. We'll add a new key here. Yeah, sign. This should now work, so let's close this and test. And yep, it works. So what I want to do is achieving this using Workspaces. Problem is that I cannot solely rely on Workspaces for this. The reason why I only want to use the Workspaces doing this is due to what I said in the beginning. The setup process will take way less time. Let me try to create the same kind of kick profile I did with the project logical editor, but using Workspaces instead. Okay, so we want the kick channel selected, and we want all plugins opened, so we'll do this to open them all. If you use key commands for Workspaces, this will speed up the process even further, so that's what I do. So I will add a new workspace here, select project workspace, I'll call this profile kick, the same. Done! Let's say I want to make a new profile, again for the snare. I'll close the plugins here. I'll select the snare, open all its plugins. I'll click New Workspace, Project Workspace, Profile, Snare, done. And now to demonstrate that it works, this is the snare. I'll go back to the kick. There we go, and back to the snare. And you can see here that they are here. So profile kick and profile snare. To begin with, some of you may already know this, but Workspaces does not remember channel selection. So currently I am onto the snare profile, and if I go back to the kick profile here, you can see that the channel selection doesn't follow. We're still on the snare here. Now I know there may be reasons for why Workspaces doesn't remember channel selection to begin with, because I can see scenarios where you don't want that to happen. But here's my proposal. When creating a new workspace, why not have selectable options right here, the same way you have global and project workspace, to remember or not remember channel selection? I personally think that this would be awesome. I know you can use Workspaces inside of a macro with a command that selects the desired channel, but my point is, if you have it here, you don't have to create a macro, and then we can save a lot of time. This leads on to the second idea I have. What if you could set up what options are checked by default when creating a new workspace? And I'm not only talking about the feature suggestion which I mentioned first, so being able to remember channel selection or not. What if you also could set up whether you want global workspace or project workspace checked by default? What if we had settings for workspaces, down right here? I personally use project workspaces much more than I use global workspaces. So, when I create workspace, I find myself having to always click on this project workspace right here. So being able to have the project workspace checked by default when creating a new workspace, I would not have to go and change that as frequently as I do right now. It's almost every time. And as I said, if we had this remember channel selection and don't remember channel selection, you could decide that as well, which one you would have selected as default. Also, if these would be implemented, I would really love the idea of not having to click on enter workspace name whenever you create a new workspace. So meaning whenever you create a new workspace, you don't have to move the mouse over there. You're just ready to name the workspace right away and then click enter. This would mean less mouse work, and less mouse work, in my opinion, is a good thing. There is one big limitation to Workspaces at this moment, and that is that you can only have dedicated key commands for workspace 1 to 9. I'll open up another project which has more than 10 workspaces, so I can show you more in detail. Okay, here we are. If we want to see the snare top workspace, I'll just click that, the hi-hat, the overheads. We can quickly access these workspaces because these are amongst workspace 1 to 9. Now, if we want to open up another workspace from 10 and upward, perhaps let's say the workspace I have for the kick bus, this looks different. The first way is to remember the number for the specific workspace, which I definitely don't, then search for it using the Workspace X function. Let's say that the workspace I've created for the kick bus, in this case is number 18, which I doubt it is, but let's just imagine it is. We would have to use the Workspace X function and then enter number 18 to access it. So let's do that. I have a key command for this, so Workspace X, and then I'll enter 18. And there is our kick bus workspace. Being able to remember every number for every workspace, especially if you, like me, want to use workspaces and you want to do this for a lot of your channels, let's say that you have hundreds of channels, this will be impossible to do. So the other way you can do is using the organizer window. Here is that window. So what we would have to do in this case is to look for the actual name of the workspace. Kick bus, I don't know. It's probably this one, kicks. Yeah, it is. It must be this one. Or let's say we want to access something else, like the instruments, all instruments, workspace. I would like us to be able to assign key commands for every workspace we have. There are third-party options out there which allows you to keybind more than 9 workspaces, but I would much rather not go that route, and I do believe that I'm not alone in that. If Steinberg would refuse to implement this, I have another idea. And do you remember what I said in the beginning about an idea making it convenient for people not using something like a Stream Deck? This is that idea. The idea is changes to the Workspace X function. Currently, when using this, you can only search for numbers. Why not be able to search for the Workspace's names? This way we don't have to remember that Workspace 67 is XYZ. I think that this is a no-brainer. These are my ideas, my wishes, my requests for Cubase 15. But before ending the video, I really want to sell you in on Workspaces. Because the more we are who would want something like this, the more likely it is that I get it. Not only is it faster to set up, but if you want to make a change to something like this, doing that in Workspaces is also faster. We're back into the first project where we created a kick and a snare profile using the project logical editor and the equivalent using Workspaces. Let's say we want to change the snare profile, which we have right here. Let's say we want to be able to see this send plugin as well, so the Pro R2 right here in this profile. What we will do is add a new project logical editor command before our current one that selects the snare verb FX channel and then open up insert number 1. So we will open up the project logical editor again and we'll start from the profile snare. Since this is the command which will happen first, we'll keep this pre-command right here. We will change this to snare verb, because that is what the FX channel is called. But we'll replace this post command to, let's see here, insert 1, open close editor. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Then we'll save this. Save changes as preset. I don't think of a better name right now. Snare verb. After that, we gotta go back to our profile snare preset right here. And we gotta disable this pre-command because we don't want this command to close the Pro R2, which we open in the first command. Other than that, we're good. So we'll save this, we'll overwrite. Now we have to create a macro combining these two. And before you say anything, I did try to insert this project logical editor command we just created in here, but for whatever reason when I did this, the Pro R2 would not open. So I don't know. We'll have to use a macro for this. So we'll head into the key commands here and we'll add a new macro. Let's just call this snare test. Then we will add the 2 project logical editor commands. So we'll search profile, there they are. We'll start with this one, profile snare verb, add command, and then profile snare, add command. Lastly, we will add a key to this, so we go here, and I'll just use the F17 again. So now we're gonna see if we successfully updated the snare profile. We'll close this, and yes, it works. The Pro R2 is now shown. Now we're gonna do the exact same update to the snare workspace profile. So we will close this down, we'll go to the snare profile, and all we gotta do now is open up the Pro R2 on the snare verb channel, and then we hit update workspace. Done! So from now on, whenever we open up that workspace, we will see the Pro R2 be there. Hopefully by now you can understand why I want to see these changes implemented to Workspaces, so I solely can rely on Workspaces so I can quite drastically improve my workflow. A brief recap regarding what changes I want to see for Workspaces. Number 1, an option for remembering channel selection when creating a workspace. Number 2, being able to, inside the Cubase preferences, select what options are checked by default when creating a new workspace. So whether the global or project workspace is checked by default, and if implemented, whether remembering channel selection is checked by default or not. Number 3, when you're creating a new workspace, you are ready to name the workspace right away. You don't have to click with the mouse onto the name field. Number 4, being able to assign dedicated key commands for every workspace, not just 1 to 9. And finally, number 5, Whenever you are searching for a workspace using the Workspace X function, let us search for the name and not only the number. What do you guys think? Do you feel the same desire for this like I do, or do you think this is a bit overrated? Perhaps you simply don't have the need for it. Perhaps you know a better way of fulfilling this purpose. If you do, let me know. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, take care and goodbye.